Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles the Bandsman, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a fantastic show for y'all, man. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith just been he just been getting roasted and toasted wherever he goes, right? We produced some shows over the last 2 weeks or so where sports and politics kind of intersect, and Stephen A. Smith has been the common theme, right? Because he's the one that's kind of found himself in the middle of all of this. We made a video of Roland Martin basically calling anybody that considers voting for Stephen A. Smith or considers him a legitimate candidate to run for office is basically a clown, right? And I would concur with him 100% there. Then Stephen A. Smith recently made headlines, and we did a show about it, where he went after U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett, and he was essentially scolding her on his show for, you know, the way she speaks, the way she was talking about the current president, Donald Trump, right? And he went off on her, and this caused a lot of people like Roland Martin to fire back at him, and even D.L. Hughley, right? But Smith made his comments about a week or so ago, so we want to give you guys a quick refresher. So for those of you who don't remember what he said, we want to play it for you now. It's only about a minute or so. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say here originally that got people talking about him, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what he said here.
Now Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself. I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Because like Joe Manchin said, he's there to represent, or was there for 15 years to represent, the people of West Virginia.
Excellent. So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say there. As I said, we did a show about it. I've called Stephen A. Smith a grifter because I believe that's exactly what he is and what he's doing. Other people have called him out as well. But it seems like D.L. Hughley, who is most known for comedy, but also has a lot of political opinions that he makes public on various shows like Vlad and his radio show and various places. And he went after Stephen A. Smith, right? He called him out for essentially not understanding what Jasmine Crockett was meant to do. And he was essentially saying, look, I understand that you're fired up about what Jasmine Crockett had to say, but why aren't you keeping your commentary fair and balanced, as you like to say? I thought you're an independent. Why didn't you call out the president as well? I'm like, pretty interesting point. For those of you who didn't hear what D.L. Hughley had to say in response to Stephen A. Smith's rant, I'm going to play it for you now. I'm going to come back and give you guys our thoughts. Take a listen to that there.
And I had a conversation with Stephen A. And I said that I would be more judicious in the way that I critique the things he said. And I would only do it if it rose to the level of something I needed to say something about. It's interesting that he chose Jasmine Crockett. Now, she doesn't serve in any leadership position. She's in the minority party. I wonder why he didn't single out, for instance, the President of the United States. And is he serving his constituents, the people that voted for him, by, I don't know, attacking a comedian and maligning a comedian, or maligning the opposition, the Democratic Party, or rambling in front of generals and the Navy? How is his constituents served? Does he serve his constituents like Mike Johnson, who constantly calls recesses so he won't have to deal of the matters of Congress? Or Jim Jordan, who's been in Congress for 18 years and never has written one piece of legislation in 18 years. I wonder why it isn't those people that he singled out. We're never going to argue about the efficacy of Congress. I think we have an agreement there. I think that they are not effective. I think that they don't do the job. I think that they don't represent their constituents well. But Jasmine Crockett is a member of the minority party. She holds no power. Her party doesn't have any power. She's not at the top of the minority party. She's a very junior congressman. So why would it be her that you would single out? Her job to represent her constituents. When you're in the opposition party, the minority party, your job is to object and to be loud, to be a fly in the orbit, to gum up the works. She's doing what it is she has the power to do, what's in her capacity to do, what's in her bandwidth to do. This is what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to make it harder and make it louder. That's what she does. She represents her constituents by being a member of the opposition party and to, by definition, oppose. I don't care in any paradigm you look at. Leadership starts at the top and goes down. Stephen A. Smith would have you believe it starts at the bottom.
So you heard what D.L. Hughley had to say. Here's my response to D.L. Hughley's question. The reason the Stephen A. Smith isn't going to address it as also from the president's side is because Stephen A. Smith is currently in the process of grifting. And when you're grifting, it's very difficult for you to do that. Now, the saddest part about all of this is this. Stephen A. presents himself as an independent. All right, I'm in the middle. I'm calling it down the line. If this guy does something wrong, I'm going to call him out. If the guys on the left do something wrong, I'm going to call. But that's not been the case. If you listen to his rhetoric over the last 9-10 months, or let's say 9 months, he's been highly, highly, highly critical of the Democrats. It's almost 90-10. He seldom calls out anything that the conservatives do. And to me, the reason you come off as a grifter is because there are even conservatives that are calling out the right as well, because they don't like every single thing that this administration has done. I'll give you guys a quick example of this. The latest one, as you guys remember, Qatar gave the U.S. this plane worth about $400 million, and it was meant to be some type of gift. And at the time, a lot of people were like, why would Qatar just give the United States a gift for no bloody reason? Is it that they like you? Or like, no, there must be strings attached. And then we hear, I believe it was yesterday, where Pete Hegseth essentially said that Qatar is going to be having an army base in the United States. And a lot of people are like, whoa, this looks like corruption here. It's like quid pro quo. You do this for me, I'm going to let you do that. Right? So people on the right are calling out the administration, Laura Loomer and all of these other guys, right? You would never hear that commentary from Stephen A. Smith because he's grifting. And when you're grifting, all you do is look for things to praise the people you're grifting for. He rarely calls it out, and sometimes he has missteps. For example, he was pro Bad Bunny performing at the NFL. Well, at the NFL Super Bowl, the Super Bowl halftime show. A lot of conservatives weren't for that. He was trying to belittle people that said, oh, they want the Epstein file released. He's like, only jobless people would be transfixed on having these files released. They called him out for that. So D.L. Hughley asking why Stephen A. Smith, he won't do that because he's busy grifting. Now, I'll tell you this. We have the midterm elections coming up next year. If the Republicans lose power and lose a lot of seats, Mr. Grift himself is going to grift back to the left. Oh, Republicans should have done this. Oh, the Republicans went too far. Oh, conservatives took it too far. Oh, and this and this. This is what he's going to do. Which is why I think Stephen A. Smith is perfectly suited for politics, because all he's ready to say whatever it takes. So D.L. Hughley is asking for accountability, which you won't get. You're not going to get that because he's a grifter, and there are a lot of people that are grifting for dollars. A lot of them. This is the era of selling your ass cheeks for money. And all of these guys are lining up with their hats open, ready for you to drop some dollars. And this is what the whole grift is about. And we're not talking about poor people here. We're talking about people that are established, people that are already probably millionaires. And they're still up there shaking their booties for no bloody reason except to make more money. And what can you expect when Stephen A. Smith gave you his manifesto, which is every morning he wakes up, the first thing he thinks about is how can he make his bosses some money? And then the next thing he thinks about is how can I mean, that right there should crystallize everything about Stephen A. Smith for you. All right, so D.L. Hughley just calling him out on it. And I know that D.L. Hughley there were a lot of people that disagree with him in terms of his political views, but at the very least, he's consistent with his views, right? You can disagree with people, but let there be some intellectual consistency there at least. And unfortunately, you won't be able to find that from Stephen A. Smith right now. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.